Brought to you by
Shea Butter Mantra.
Yes, this is best for you.
Gifted by Nature, Shea Butter Mantra, a 100% certified organic cream.
Hello there and welcome to News Tonight this Thursday, the second day of May 2019. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. Out on bail. Security tightened during Chagulanyi trial. Tour operators against South Africa's visa denial. And in sports, lady cricket cranes off to Zimbabwe. Hello there and welcome once again. We are glad that you have chosen UBC to be your channel of choice on sign language. It is Mugalu Mohammed and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma. Now, the Prime Minister, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, has called upon Ugandans to emulate the late Dr. Kinani, whose determination to create a better society enabled him to contribute greatly to his profession and the country at large. The Premier made the remarks while attending the funeral service of the late Dr. Keba Misaki Kinani, which took place at All Saints Cathedral in Nakasero today. Now, Dr. Kinani, who was a veterinary doctor by profession, served as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Animal Industry and Fisheries and the Ministry of Health before retiring from public service in 1988. He died on Monday this week.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda, has eulogized the late Dr. Kinani as someone who was professional in his conduct of public affairs, disciplined, genuine, patriotic, candid, and engaged in constructive criticism for the faster growth and development of the country. He asked the mourners to emulate the service of the late Dr. Kinani for the development of the country.
It is that candor, that genuineness, that determination to build a better country, a better society, and a better delivery of services that I really salute him for. And we need to emulate him, and if we do so, I believe that Uganda will be clearly a much better country faster.
The Prime Minister also conveyed President Museveni's condolence message of 10 million shillings to the family. The family of the deceased described him as a loving and caring parent who always advised and guided them with logic and humility.
He loved us so much, he guided us in such a way that it was very easy for us to make decisions. People say that a long time ago you only had choices, you only had certain choices because of the way life was. But the way my dad brought us up was, he would advise you with logic and humility and humble. He would never force you to do something, but he would guide you in such a way that you are actually forced to do what he's saying, because he'll give you such good reason and point you to the future of the consequences of your choices.
The president of the Uganda Veterinary Association, Dr. Baluka Slivia, said Dr. Kinani was a giant pillar and icon of the veterinary profession. She said Dr. Kinani did not only pioneer the formation of an umbrella of the Veterinary Association, but also promoted the profession by carrying out his work diligently without expectation of any monetary reward. Baluka tasked that his legacy be strongly carried forward. Dr. Reverend Sam Ruteikara, in his homily, asked the family to find comfort in the Lord and have hope in the resurrection. Dr. Keba Misaki Kinani is survived by a widow, 5 children, a son-in-law, and grandchildren. He will be laid to rest in Budaka district on Saturday. Doreen Asasra reporting for UBC News.
Now, where police was prompted to fire tear gas to disperse Chagulanyi Sentamu supporters in Luzira Township that had gathered to welcome him after securing bail.
Luzira, a Kampala suburb, was generally calm
Thursday morning, as Chadondo East MP Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, also known as Bobi Wine, took to the dock for the bail application hearing that was later granted in the afternoon. Security, dominated by LODU forces and police, were seen patrolling the whole suburb and maintaining law and order around Luzira prison, where the legislator followed the proceedings via video conferencing. Mukono Municipality MP Betty Namboze Bakireke, who tried to access the premises to witness Kyagulanyi's video conferencing experience, was stopped by security.
Because if you can choose to use Honorable Kyagulanyi's case as a test case to test out your new system, it's fine. It is fine with us. But we are offended by one thing, that while here, Honorable Kyagulanyi cannot access his lawyer. One of the lawyers would be allowed to go inside here. And even me, as a friend, I would be allowed to sit inside the room where he is, because it is assumed where he is standing now in the dock is a court premises, and court premises are public places. So how are they going to handle this thing? Today it is Mr. Kyagulanyi, but a precedent has been set.
However, later in the day, on hearing the news of Kyagulanyi's release on bail, the once calm town became rowdy, prompting police to fire tear gas and rubber bullets to calm the situation. Many motorcycles belonging to border riders who were allegedly involved in the day's chaos were impounded. By press time, the joint security team manned by Uganda Police, military police and local defense unit forces continued patrolling and maintaining their presence. Bernard Iga, UBC TV, in Kampala.
And that was in Luzira. And earlier on in the day, the Chadondo East Member of Parliament, Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, also known as Bobi Wine, was granted bail. Now, Kyagulanyi, whose bail application was had through video teleconferencing, was asked to pay cash bail of 1 million shillings. Buganda Road Grade 1 Magistrate Esther Nahiria warned that Kyagulanyi risked forfeiting his bail if he held any illegal demonstrations. Now, that is the story that we are still working on. We'll get it to you in our 10 p.m. bulletin. Other news now, police has had tough time taming rioters at Chiseka Market as a cross-section of youth turned lawless despite the heavy security deployment in the area. Our reporter Ivan Kawa was at Chiseka Market where rioters forced business to a standstill. He also moved to various spots in town where he witnessed heavy security deployment.
Police had running battles with fans of Robert Kyagulanyi, who put a scenario that attracted attention of members of public at Chiseka Market. The rioters blocked part of the road using stones and empty boxes amidst tension of setting them ablaze.
Babeera bangi babeera badduka mulimu abasajja bakulu bambala ebitaawo badduka olumala okuma omuliro nga bakasuka amayinja n'abalala babadde ku fulaati okwo waggulu.
Mokasa John is a good Samaritan who joined the security officials to clean up the road for easy access. He says the tension disrupted business around the area.
Kisobodde kunoonya akasente kagenda wange kupangisa kasigo oba okuliisa omwana wange emmotoka gye nkolera nandibadde ejja akasente wakambu waliwo amayinja mangi.
Police moved door to door searching for the hooligans who were creating disorder, but in vain. Police maintained its patrol within the area, but as they found space to relax, rioters continued with the menace. By press time, no one had been arrested and business had returned to normal. Security was also deployed around Waise, Kalerwe and Sapolo Kagwa Road as a preventive measure of any form of violence. Local defense units were also on the move to stop any form of misconduct. The tension was as a result of Chadondo East Member of Parliament Kyagulanyi Robert's arrest that has since created tension among his supporters. Kyagulanyi has been given cash bail of 1 million and his 3 sureties 10 million non-cash each on condition that he does not involve himself in protests. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Thanks, Ivan, for that report there. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court will on notice give a ruling in a case filed by Professor Frederick Sembeba and others against the Attorney General on electoral reforms. Now, this was after court sitting this morning in Kololo had submissions from the applicants and respondents in this case. We have more in this story.
Delivering their ruling after the 2016 election petition filed by Amama Mbabazi against the Electoral Commission and President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the NRM, the Supreme Court made recommendations and directed the Attorney General to follow them up and make a report after 2 years. Some of the recommendations made included increasing the number of days for filing the presidential election petition and disposing it, ensuring equal use of state media, prohibiting the giving of donations during elections, increasing time for holding presidential elections in an event the election is annulled, and amending the current Electoral Commission Act, among others. In today's court session, the applicants in the case led by Ladislas Rakafuzi and Robert Chirunda asked court to hold the Attorney General in contempt of court over the delay in following up with these orders.
In our view, it raises 3 fundamental questions. Number 1, what is the weight of the orders of the Supreme Court? Because should we agree that Supreme Court orders carry the most weight, then we must agree that the consequences of disobedience ought to be clear in the minds of everyone, at least as clear as we all know the consequences of gravity, for example. But the third question we seek to address is where these orders are disobeyed, what then happens?
Lords, it is our prayer again that this court finds that the Attorney General is in contempt and orders the Attorney General within not more than 6 months on a date which I pray should be fixed by this court for reappearance of all the parties for purposes of the Attorney General to report compliance with the orders. So that if there are further orders that are required, can be given.
They added that the Constitution Amendment Bill tabled before Parliament as a private member's bill by Honorable Raphael Magez didn't contain the recommendations of the Supreme Court in the fullest extent. On his part, the Deputy Attorney General informed court that his office has been working on numerous bills in fulfillment of the Supreme Court orders.
I tell you, my lords, I want to submit that enacting laws, formulating bills is a process. Yes. It requires consultations, it requires...
and it requires ample time.
Ample time. Yes. Now, we have used the time between the judgment and today to complete the processes. No. Now we have the bills in place.
So when will you complete the process in 6?
My Lord, because of the urgency of this matter, we have sought leave to table these bills without going through cabinet, which is allowed by our rules of procedure. Now, that means that any time after this judgment, we shall be in Parliament with the bills.
Rukutana also asked court to dismiss this application with costs, something the applicants resisted. In his rejoinder, counsel for the applicant Robert Chirunda asked court to clarify on what happens when state agencies allegedly undermine judicial orders.
The pleadings and the law can give a ruling on notice.
The Attorney General asked for 6 months to table bills they are currently working on before Parliament, adding that this will be done expeditiously. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
Samuel, thanks so much for that story there. Now to the August House, where parliamentarians across the political divide are in agreement with the projected budget increment for the House for the financial year 2019-2020. Now, the increment is defended as either meant to meet the high cost of living in the country or towards matching the fuel allowances with that of the pump price. Onyango Jackson reports.
The projected Parliament budget for financial 2019-20 is 560 billion shillings, an increment from 490 billion shillings for 2018-19. Across the political divide, divisionism is a clear manifestation, with some in defense of the increment with all sorts of reasons. A local daily quotes Usuk Member of Parliament Peter Ogwang, doubling as a parliamentary commissioner, defending the increment as a response to the increase on the cost of living due to inflation. Resistance from those subscribed to ideology contrary to the national resistance movement is minimal.
It's not true that we in the opposition are doing nothing when other Ugandans who are being employed by government are being told, are being given peanuts as salaries. We are doing all what is within our capacity, only that we have not been so lucky that our issues have captured your attention.
Additional reasons are cited for the bloating parliamentary budget.
Parliament, there is a general increase. Why? There is a new chamber. You know it. Parliament is going to host Commonwealth members of Parliament in September. Then Parliament is going to buy new buses this year. So when we hear this generalization that members of Parliament have increased their salaries, be specific.
Whereas the budget framework paper was already presented to the House, the Parliamentary Commission is yet to make decisions on some of the budget areas for the August House.
We're going to have a commission meeting on 10th this month. That is 9 days to come. If it's going to be there, then we will wait to hear. But what I know is members of Parliament have been underpaid in terms of fuel. So right now fuel is at 4,000.
They give us
but members of Parliament still receive about 2,700. So it is only that which I have had.
Allowances for MPs will increase by 39% and 15% for the members of staff. There have been efforts in the past to push for the establishment of a salaries board to sort out existing discrepancies, but this is yet to receive a nod to the relief of the working community. Onyango Jackson, UBC TV.
Meanwhile, the civil society organizations have condemned the move by members of parliament to increase their allowance by nearly 40%, citing high costs of living. They have urged the Parliamentary Commission to drop the proposed allowances and the money be used to service delivery.
The recent move by members of parliament to increase their allowances by 39%, leaving out other public servants, has attracted a negative reaction from the civil society organizations. The new increase, which will be effected in the next financial year, increased the parliament's budget from 497 billion shillings to 561 billion shillings, which the civil society organizations say is a burden to the taxpayer.
Already each Ugandan legislator earns approximately 25 million per month, exclusive of a litany of benefits like vehicle allowances, iPads, sitting allowances, per diems, and of course of recent, some of them have been provided with extra security in form of lead cars and bodyguards. This is extremely outrageous and unsustainable for the Ugandan taxpayer. It is unfortunate that the MPs who obtain such allowances are most of the time absent from Parliament.
The civil society officials also described the act by MPs as unpatriotic, self-centered and disrespectful.
You cannot continuously keep asking for more and more. And yet when you go back to the constituencies where these members of parliament are coming from, guys are living in abject poverty. So what type of message are you passing on? So we don't necessarily want the constitution to be amended, but we want our MPs to constrain and restrain their greed to ensure that they live within the budget.
While addressing the media at Transparency International offices in Kampala, the civil society urged the Parliamentary Commission to drop the proposed allowances and so that the money is instead used for service delivery.
Our opposition guys will come up and, we shall hear them. When it comes to increasing their pay, they'll keep quiet because I think they're all benefiting. And I think for me that shows the irony of some of our opposition members, that when it comes to castigating government over other things that government hasn't done, they're going to be very, very vocal. But when it comes to something where they're all going to benefit monetary terms, they're all going to go numb. And I think that is very disappointing.
Our country's resources ought to be directed at improving service delivery in key sectors such as education, health, and agriculture, which require urgent attention as compared to the MP's unending demands.
Yes, Minister.
The Constitution mandates Parliament to determine the MP's pay, but according to the civil society, over-raising their pay at the expense of the taxpayer is an abuse of the privilege. For UBC TV News, I am Philip Aguta in Kampala.
Thanks, Philip, for that report. And it's only when it comes to monetary terms that even the opposition members of Parliament are on the other side. We'll take a short break.
The National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, invites the general public to review and scrutinize the Environmental and Social Impact Assessment Report for the proposed Kingfisher Development Project. The project involves the development of the Kingfisher oil field located in Chikube district and feeder pipeline transporting crude oil to the delivery point in Kabale in Hoima district. The major components of the project include oil production and water injection wells, central processing facility, flow lines, water obstruction station, feeder pipeline, and supporting infrastructure. Copies of the report are available at the following locations: Written comments should be addressed to the Executive Director, National Environment Management Authority, Ginger Road, Kampala, by 15th May 2019. NEMA, ensuring sustainable development.
Meet Rose and her sister Betty. Both are so pretty. Rose believes in organic products, while Betty is trendy, uses chemical-based products. As the time goes, Rose's skin starts getting better glow, whereas Betty's face developed dullness. Now she feels gloomy.
Shea Butter Mantra? Yes, this is best for you.
Gifted by nature, Shea Butter Mantra, a 100% certified organic cream.
For the first time in Uganda, we are launching a virtual online trade show. Can you imagine having a trade show on your PC, on your mobile phone, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year? Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
Every dream has a challenging journey. Ours began in 1998 with a mission to drive the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda. We created structures to champion the dream. We've evolved, made discoveries, supported great minds, empowered Ugandans, and fostered a vibrant culture, enabling communication for all. Down the years, we've created memories and networks, uniting generations and building great partnerships. Together, we can go even further. UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
Data Blaster bundles from Airtel. Get more data to chat, tweet, browse, stream, upload, download, share, and so much more on the internet. Get 3 GB for only 10,000 shillings, valid for 3 days, and that's not all. With just 15,000 shillings, get 4 GB valid for a whole week, and for just 50k, get a whopping 20 GB valid for a month. Dial *175# to choose your Data Blaster bundle on Uganda's only 100% 4G network today, or recharge your data bundles conveniently using Airtel Money. Simply dial *185#. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Brought to you by Stack Online.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Time now for us to have a look at what's happening in the world of business, and it's not good news for Ugandan tour operators, where the visa denial by South Africa to Uganda's tour operators and exhibitors to the Indaba annual tourism exhibition has angered the tourism fraternity. According to Richard Kawere, the Chief Executive Officer, Uganda Tourism Association, visa denial to tourism is unlawful and not within the respected convention that Uganda has with South Africa. The private sector tourism players will next petition Parliament on the matter, as we hear from Dennis Sigoa.
It is important for Ugandans to know that visa is the biggest non-tariff barrier this country has got.
Uganda tour operators are to submit a petition to Parliament, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Trade about visa problems they encounter with various consulates and embassies. The petition comes on the heels of a visa denial by the South African Embassy to tour operators and exhibitors who were to attend, network and exhibit in the annual Indaba tourism event in Johannesburg, South Africa.
This should not have happened. And also looking at the bigger picture, as you are aware, there is now a trade agreement for all the African countries to work as a bloc. And if our fellow African country can deny a business delegation to South Africa to exhibit the potential tourism products that we have to offer. As you are aware, Indaba is one of the biggest African tourism exhibition.
According to Amos Wakesa, the Chief Executive Officer, Great Lake Safaris, the visa denial is disheartening and disastrous.
By this morning, then I knew we were not going to go, which means, and for the $1,000 you pay in advance for accommodation, you cannot go and no one can send you a confirmation that you are going to sleep in the accommodation in South Africa without you paying. So you pay in cash. Then for ATTA you pay 2 months or 1 month in advance. So now we were going to lose over 20 million shillings to South African companies. However, because they gave us a visa today, the fair began today. But because the fair began today, we've missed today. So we've missed about 10 appointments of very good business, which is extremely very sad.
His sentiments are re-echoed by Richard Kawere, the CEO, Uganda Tourism Association.
It is easy to get a visa to go to the US than getting a visa to South Africa. It is so disheartening, and it's an African country is denying entry, and most of Ugandans who are so close to them to go and do business. Not everybody who goes to South Africa wants to stay there. People are going to do business. As the South Africans come and participate in our trade shows, they have also come to do business. They are inviting Ugandans to go for honeymoons. They are coming. So basically, it is, as I would say, it is in terms of business, it's extremely counterproductive and doesn't show comradeship.
Although the South African High Commission reversed its decision and issued the visas to most of the applicants, the damage had already been done. The Indaba is one of the biggest annual global tourism exhibitions. Uganda has over the years successfully exhibited its rich and diverse tourism products at Indaba. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Brought to you by Stack Online has made it possible. Log on to www.stackonlinetradeshow.com or download our app from Google Play Store or Apple Store. Seek, find, trade with Stack Online.
Sports news now, and we're looking at cricket, where Uganda Cricket Association has dispatched the Uganda Cricket Ladies team to contest at the 2019 ICC Women's T20 Africa Qualifier in Zimbabwe. The 9-team tournament that starts this weekend will be played at 3 venues. Here is our sports reporter, John Barnes, Centum.
So our chances to play in the World Cup.
Serious business for Uganda Cricket Association in 2019 has started, with the ladies cricket team dispatched for the 2019 ICC Women's Africa T20 qualifier in Zimbabwe. Uganda carries the enviable tag of defending champion, but coach Michael Ndiko is optimistic they will perform to their utmost.
The team is quite well prepared. We had a series here, Victoria series, where Zimbabwe and Kenya participated, and you could easily say that those are probably the top 2 teams in the whole setup besides Uganda. And we have a good chance because we've seen our chances. Of course, we were humbled, so to speak, but that helped us to learn many aspects of ourselves as defending champions. And so the team is in a better place. We've been working hard. We've been addressing the challenges and the mistakes we made.
Uganda is in Group B alongside Sierra Leone, Namibia and Kenya, while Group A has Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Rwanda, Nigeria and Tanzania. Uganda starts against Sierra Leone on 5th May, then Namibia on 6th, before a date with Kenya on 8th May, to be followed by a final on 12th May if they top Group B. The top 2 teams from each group will contest a final, whose winner will progress to the 2019 ICC Women's T20 qualifiers and the 2020 50 Over Cricket World Cup qualifier in Scotland. Uganda's team of 17 players includes team captain Kevin Awino, assisted by Janet Mbabazi.
We are looking forward to challenge ourselves because the teams are very many. There are 9 teams and they are grouped. But we are not looking forward for the number, but we are looking forward to challenge ourselves and win the cup.
Others are Rita Musamali, Immaculate Nakisui, Damali Businje and Stephanie Nampina. John Barnes, Sentamu, reporting.
John Barnes, Sentamu, with that sports story there brings us to the end of our bulletin this evening. But before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our top stories. In our news tonight, Robert Kyagulanyi out on bail. Security tightened during Kyagulanyi trial. Tour operators against South Africa visa denial. And in sports, lady cricket cranes off to Zimbabwe. And that brings us to the end of news tonight. But do remember that our next bulletin comes your way at 10 p.m. From me and on behalf of the entire news crew. For now, it is good viewing, and up next here on UBC TV is In Focus. See you at 10.